Hello everyone, Treecks here, and welcome back to Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the GameCube version of it. Not to be confused with an earlier release of this game, which was actually on the PlayStation and the PC, not precisely the same, and this is just like the first game going to be the second version of the game. But the story will be the same. Harry Potter has actually returned for his second year of wizarding school.
Hey Potter, neat trick with the flying car.
We used the flying car in order to actually get here because we missed the train. It already gave us a lot of trouble on the first night we actually arrived here. But for some weird reason we were not expelled. And we're allowed to actually enter the castle yet again. Harry is going to learn some more magic this year. And the first bit of magic we are going to be learning is going to be flying. As you can see, one of our missions is going to be flying lesson with Madam Hooch on the flying pitch. And in order to get there, we need to meet Ron in the entrance hall. He also needs to go to that class, so might as well go together, I guess. Shall we begin?
We ought to go outside.
Yeah, indeed. Let's. The moment we arrived here, I already explained how the Hogwarts grounds actually works in this game. It's actually divided in sections instead of one giant open area, like in the first game. And therefore it's going to be easy to actually locate all of the different areas there. However, now that it's daytime, we also unlock something new, the mini-games of this game. For that we actually need to talk to Neville over here. And as you can see, Neville will always have a couple of games ready for us. Neville's game menu. There's going to be 3 of them. Currently 2 of them are going to be unlocked. Gnome Dunking and Gnome Tossing. And whenever playing these, we can actually earn wizard cards by beating the high scores in all of these mini-games. There's also going to be a flying mini-game here. But obviously that's going to unlock the moment we actually learn how to fly in this game. The game is not going to assume we remember it from the first game. It needs to keep in account that we don't always actually play the first game. But the first 2 minigames are going to be unlocked. Both of them are going to be making use of the gnome throwing. That we actually did at the burrow back at the beginning of the game.
Number 18, Ulrich the Oddball.
First one is going to be easy. Just beat the high score in regular gnome throwing. Just throw them as far as you can. And the moment you beat the high score, it will actually earn you a wizard card. Pretty easy. In order to exit the minigame, you simply leave this area. There's no exit button here. We just leave. And eventually we will actually return to the main grounds. And that is actually how this is going to work. Gnome tossing is going to be a bit more sophisticated. This is going to be an actual minigame that's going to be built around the gnome tossing mechanic.
Why don't you have a go at beating the current gnome throwing record, Harry? It'll cost 10 beans.
Oh yeah, almost forgot about that. This actually costs you beans. And I think that actually also applies to the flying minigame. You actually need to pay for these guys in order to play them. And therefore, this is something that's not going to happen quite yet. We are not able to afford it. So, might as well continue with the story then.
Although you all apparently learned to fly last year, the apparently is directed at you, Mr. Longbottom, a brief refresher course is in order. Potter, let's see if you still have that natural flying ability. First of all, I want to test your broom control. Fly up and hover a few feet from the ground.
Ah, come on, we still know how to fly. We were in the Quidditch team after all in the first year, so we know what we're doing.
Now, fly back down to the ground and hover above it.
Also easy enough. Just hold down.
Excellent. You seem to have lost none of your natural flying ability. Let's move on to something a little more difficult. You see before you a course comprised of enchanted rings. What you must do is to fly through as many of these rings as possible in the correct order. Are you ready, Potter? Begin.
Alright, this is going to be our introduction to the minigame we need to do with flying as well. Fly through the rings, all of them. The way it works, the more we actually pass through, the more we are able to build up our speed. That is how this will actually work. And this way we can actually test it out.
Right. Now for the examination, where a grade will be awarded depending on how well you complete the course. You must fly through as many rings as you can in a set time. I've created several new enchantments for the rings, causing some to move and others to shrink as you approach them. When you're ready, Mr. Potter, you may begin.
Ooh, our first actual examination. Now I'm feeling nervous. But all with all, this is not per se that difficult. There's a timer here, but just keep the A button pressed, accelerate constantly, and just go for all of the rings. I think the sensitivity of the steering is not per se that difficult to master. It's pretty easy to do. The rings are pretty far apart as well. Some of them will move now, as you can see. Still, it shouldn't be too difficult to actually get to them. And I'm pretty sure you don't have to do it perfectly in order to get the maximum grade. I think you are allowed to miss one or two. You will still actually get the perfect score. It does not have to be entirely perfect, at least. That can also take some pressure off you might say. But I will of course try to go for perfect. Let's see if we are able to. This is a pretty nasty turn. But I got through it. Didn't miss a single one. Approaching 40. I think this is the best we can do.
An outstanding display, Mr. Potter. You received the highest grade, a distinction. Well done. If you want to practice flying, Mr. Potter, come over here.
It was exhausting, Harry. I'm off to bed. See you later.
Off to bed after one lesson. But anyway, we can actually also take a look at our grades in every single challenge that we do. And therefore saying also how many house points it's going to give us in the end. And of course it will matter. This is mostly where you actually score your house points in this game after all. Just like in the first adventure. I don't think I'm gonna go for the highest grades this time around in the game though. It's pretty difficult to actually score perfect grades in this game. Unlike in the first game, it is not dependent on the number of shields you actually collect in all of the challenges. All of the highest grades are going to be based on time, just like this one was. And because of the nature of the Let's Play and all of the explaining I need to do during the challenges, it's going to be difficult to actually get the highest grade. But luckily we don't need to. Even if you don't get the highest grades, you're still able to win the House Cup in the end of the game, so don't worry about that. Time for us to actually head towards night 1. Time to tally up the house points so far.
Gryffindor.
We've got 90 of them on the first day. Nice.
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff. Did pretty much half as good as we did.
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw. 67. A bigger contender, I guess.
Slytherin.
Slytherin. Ooh. Well, we're not very far ahead of them, so need to keep on our toes. 3-point lead. Returning to the common room. Whenever ending a day or ending a night, that is automatically where you're transported to. Like I explained, that is always where we begin. And this time as well. Welcome to night 1. I think it's time to start talking about the story. And that is going to be more than just learning magic at school. Of course, there's also going to be an underlying adventure. And those usually actually get explained during the nighttime sessions.
Harry, just the person I've been looking for. Something dreadful has happened to Neville. He's got himself trapped behind a tapestry.
And I suppose you want me to get him out?
Would you? That's so kind of you, Harry. He's out here.
Not too sure how you get yourself stuck behind the tapestry, but I guess with Neville everything is possible. But anyway, since we are here, we can actually start talking about the Lost and Found bulletin board. Just like in the first game, there's going to be items we need to gather. And that way we're going to be able to see there's a bag lying around the greenhouse area now. We'll be taking a look at that later. But first we need to take care of this.
Neville? How did you end up back there?
He was looking for Trevor, his toad, and he went the wrong way. Now he's stuck.
Well, can't you get him out, Hermione?
No, I've tried everything. We need a severing charm.
And where am I going to find one of those at this time of night?
Herbology Greenhouse 3 in the grounds. Except, to get in, you're going to have to find out how to pull up hawk lumps. If you go to the library, there's an excellent book by Professor Lockhart. That'll tell you how to do it.
Okay, So I've got to go into the library on the second floor and get a copy of Lockhart's book, and then go out into the grounds and find my way into the herbology greenhouse to get the severing charm.
Yes.
What did he say?
Hurry up.
Well, thank you for the nice summary, Harry. It is nighttime, so we're not going to be doing some shopping. Not because it is nighttime. Nighttime is when it is open. No, we are not going to be doing some shopping because we simply don't have enough beads. So it is not going to be happening now. Instead, we're going to go into the castle again. Nighttime castle. Like I explained earlier, that is when the castle is at its most dangerous. That is when the enemies are around, the ghosts and stuff. But now we need to. Neville needs to be saved, yet again. Severing charm is going to be required. We were not able to bring it along from the previous game, so we need to actually collect it again. And this time around we can actually find it in herbology. The greenhouses. We're not going to be getting it during a class. We actually need to get it ourselves.
Come to me. Let me rip you. Let me tear you.
What on earth was that?
Yeah, good question. We were just on our way down towards the library, and then some voices suddenly starting to tell scary stuff. I guess it was you. I don't trust these paintings in here.
Hello there, young Harry. Where are you off to in such a hurry?
Hello, Nick. I'm just doing something for Hermione. It's urgent, so I'm afraid I can't chat for long.
Not to worry, young Harry. You cut along now and I'll see you some other time. Good night.
Not too sure what that was all about, but apparently the game wanted us to know that near Headless Nick was actually floating around here for some reason. I guess we will find out why that was later. Perhaps the scary voice we heard is actually related to that. Strange. I don't think it is normal. Not even in Hogwarts. To hear a voice like that. But first things first, we are on a mission. Let's go try to focus on that first. Actually going towards the library. Although we do need to be careful, because of it being nighttime, it is of course going to be crawling around with prefects.
Hey, you!
And it looks like we were spotted. Time for us to leave. I've already proven that I'm not very good at stealth. On my own time, I'm actually currently playing Metal Gear Solid 3 for the first time. And I must admit that game is giving me a whole lot of trouble, so it's definitely not my kind of thing. But more about that later, I guess. First we're playing Harry Potter. Where also a snuff of stealth is actually present. But luckily not in the library itself. Oh, here we pick up a stink pellet. These you may also remember from the first game. Stink pellets are one of the ways you can actually lure prefects away. If we throw these in front of prefects, they're going to be distracted because of them being distracted by the bad smell. And at that moment they're actually not paying attention to what's happening in front of them. It's one of the ways to actually get past the prefects if you're not good at sneaking around them. Those are also, once again, going to be a thing in this game. Oh, and here we have another new item. Luminous balloons. Another item we're going to be able to equip on our item selection. And is another way to actually get rid of prefects. Like the stink pellets, these will actually distract prefects, but in a different way. This is an item that can actually blow up and therefore make a bit of noise. And that will make the prefects actually investigate that area. And that will give you the opportunity to actually go somewhere else. This way you can actually lure prefects to a certain spot you want them to actually go to. And therefore give you the opportunity to sneak past them. Also something we can actually find in the pots over here. Alongside a lot of beans. We can actually also check around the books that are on some of these pedestals here. They will actually give us hints on the game. Not every single one is readable, but some of them will be. And they will actually give us hints. Most of the stuff is going to be pretty basic, but I guess it's something I can point out. This is also something you can use the library for. It is also a hint system in this game. Looks like this book over here is actually talking about the mini games we can play. The gnome throne is actually mentioned here. A good way to collect wizard cards in this game. Definitely. But you do need to make sure you have enough beans in order to play the minigames. I guess this is going to be a dead end. There are some pots we can quickly open up. Oh, here's a frog. More ectoplasm. And another strange looking statue in front of the door. Also, don't quite have the spell for that yet. The second corridor. And here we have more pots. And the rest we cannot do yet. Another door requiring a spell we don't have. So, let's go focus on the mission instead. The book we need, we can actually find right over here. Marauding with monsters. During my myriad travels across this magical globe of ours, I beheld many strange sights and encountered a veritable bestiary of peculiar and exotic creatures. Alright, and then on the next page we are actually able to learn what we need to do. The usual technique for uprooting horclumps is to take a good firm hold on them and then twist and yank them from the ground. And that is the first part of importance we actually need. The next page is going to talk about gnomes. The most efficient way of dealing with this garden blight is to use Flipendo on the little blighter. That we already know pretty much. Yeah, I think this is going to waste too much time, so might as well actually keep it with this. How to deal with the horclumps was the most important thing we needed to read in here, so... All of the other enemies kind of speak for themselves, or enemies we've already dealt with, so... We already know what we need to do. At least this way we are allowed to continue in the story. Also important. The book has been gathered at least. Now let's try to get out of here without getting caught.
Huh?
Getting spotted I don't care about. There's no alert mode in this game, so... If we are spotted, they're gonna go away the moment we actually leave the room. Just make sure you're not caught. That's the most important thing. Now, time for us to leave again. Make sure not to get bombarded by bugs. I hate bugs, you know. Get away from me. Now, let's go get you. Need some more beans. I want to play minigames soon, so kind of need to. I think that's going to be good enough. Time for us to leave Hogwarts again. Entering the greenhouse at night. Sounds dangerous. But we need to. Loading the castle entrance. Everybody is asleep. Nobody here to stop us. Not even the prefect. Let's go. Hogwarts grounds. So tempting to actually always run around at night over here. Breaking the rules. For some reason. Always feels so satisfying. At least the moment you do it in a video game. Don't go start doing it in real life. We're only doing it here. And liking it here in a video game, because here we are allowed to do so. Next step in our adventure, entering the greenhouse, and not even for a lesson. But we are still going to receive a spell book.